Welcome back. You're listening to the Flow Summer Sports Show here on Flow FM. The Hume representative from the Cricket Albury Wodonga board, Steve Bennett, joins me on the line to talk all things Cricket Albury Wodonga. Steve, how are you?
Yeah, good, thanks, Dan. Yeah, we got through the first round, so that was really good.
Always good. It's a long season, so it's always good to get through round one. And let's start off with yourself. You had a good win in the Osborne Seconds over Brock Burham.
Yeah, we did have not a bad win. We had both sides had a few blokes away with footy trips and weddings and all that sort of thing. So probably down on numbers, but it was really good because a lot of our younger juniors played for both sides. They batted first and made a pretty good total of 130, but a couple of our juniors were able to chase the total down. Though I should note the oldest bloke in the team, who isn't me, took 5 wickets, which is great for him. And I had a very quiet day in the covers, just, getting in the way of a couple and dodging a few others.
Very good. Well, Lachlan Bowyer leading the way with 53 not out, carrying his bat through the innings. Good to see there. So a good win from Osborne and from yourself to open the season. And we'll run through the rest of the seconds results. And unfortunately, Walla Walla and Oaklands didn't get a game in. Yeah,
they just had a few issues, so they decided to make an agreement just to call it a draw. So that was, a good result for those guys.
All right, and then Lockhart taking on Colcan, and the highest scoring match of the round. Colcan scoring 191 in the second innings, but that was not good enough to win as Lockhart scored 200.
Yeah, and good to see the person they call the Bradman of the Bush in our area, Steve Brand, played with his son in the B grade, which is, a great feature of B grade. Dads playing with their sons and daughters, and he made 127, so he certainly hasn't lost it. And Lockhart on their return to the B grade. They've been in the A grade for about 5 years. They've come back just to consolidate, get their campaign off to a good start.
All right, well, you've got to be a pretty good cricketer to get the name Bradman of the Bush, and he clearly didn't let down with 127 for the first game of the season. Run out in the end, and I have to assume he was run out because he was just trying to pad as many runs as possible late in the innings.
Yeah, I think that's a nice way of putting it. I reckon he would have been fairly knocked up. But anyway, you certainly couldn't be unhappy being run out when you've made that many. So the side that I play in sometimes has got to play him this week. So I'm hoping that he's that knocked up he misses the week.
All right, well, who knows? Hopefully next week we'll be talking about you taking him for a golden duck. But as we know about the original himself, he didn't get too many golden ducks. So we'll see how you go on that one. And I'll certainly be keeping an eye on the Bradman of the Bush because that nickname has got me captivated. Last game for the seconds, it was Henty with a pretty convincing win over Holbrook. They won that one with 163 runs. Holbrook, chasing down that total, only managed the 84.
Yeah. There's been a few changes at Henty this year in the B grade. The long-standing captain has stood down, and they've got their captain by Dave White, who's been a fantastic bowler over many years in the A grade. They've got off to a good start. Holbrook missed last year from the B grade, so it's great to see them back, and they won't stay down for long. They'll bounce back, no doubt at all.
All right, let's have a look at the firsts now, and we'll start out with Colcan, and they went down to the Rock-Huron Creek, a very big win for the Rock-Huron Creek. Bowled out Colcan for just 90 runs in just under 20 overs, and they made 185 runs themselves. So starting the season off with a really good win.
Yeah, last year's runners-up, the Rock-Huron Creek, pretty much the same side that they had last year. So it's good that they've stuck together, put together a good batting performance. Todd Hannam and Ryan Kirkwood both making 39. A few of the guys from Colcan grabbed a couple of wickets each. Probably the difference on the day was Oscar Willis from the Rock taking 7 for 31. He's one of their juniors. He plays with his dad in the in the A grade there, and that's a really good performance from a young cricketer who's had a few injuries over the years. Start the season off like that is fantastic. So, yeah, well done to Oscar.
7 wickets, especially for a junior, that is just remarkable. 7 for 31 in 8 overs. So, very good win to start the season by the Rocky Wodonga Creek. We'll see if they can go one step further this year. Let's move on to our next game, and it was Brock Burham with a pretty narrow loss to Osborne. They were bowled out for 93, and Osborne chased them down with 6 overs to spare, making 6 for 99. So a pretty good win to start the season by Osborne.
Yeah. As we reflected on earlier, Brock Burham are the reigning premiers. They had their football trip was on the weekend, so they were quite a few players short. I think there was only 2 or 3 from that premiership side actually playing. A couple of young players, Jack Reynolds and John Ryan, taking 7 wickets between them, set Osborne up well, and I think Osborne were 1 for 64 or something and had a bit of a minor collapse. Anyway, they limped over the line and got the win, and any win over Brock Burham you're going to treasure, especially first round of the year. So, good start for the Osborne.
Let's look to our next game, a high-scoring one here. Henty made 6 for 184. Holbrook 7 for 148 in their 40 innings. A pretty good score from Holbrook, but just a better score from Henty.
I think we were talking last week saying this would be a very good game, and as it probably turns out, it was the closest of the lot, given the Osborne one was very low scoring. There's obviously good cricket when there's well over 300 runs scored on the day. Yeah, Henty batted first, made 184. A few contributors, Captain Daniel Turlick, 38, and Bailey Armstrong, 36. Jet Liddell took 3 for 20 for Holbrook, which was good. In reply, they just really... it was a bit of the Jet Liddell show for Holbrook. He made top score with 30. So he just obviously needed a couple of mates to make a few runs with him, and they might have got a little bit closer. But, talking to people at Holbrook, they're pretty happy with the way that they're starting to look, and they'll certainly gel. They've got some blokes coming back and some young fellas that have been there for a while. So, it's a good start for them.
And in our last match of the round, it was a good win for Walla Walla. They made 192 runs from their 40 overs, ran just the 21 overs batted for 62 runs. So really good win by Walla Walla. And I'm noticing in the batting lineup, they've got a Mark Taylor who made 50, Joel Merkel, the captain, made 53. So really good from the middle order. And Mark Taylor probably copping the unfortunate nickname of Tubby.
Not to his face.
I would hope not.
Does happen a bit, but Mark's played for Walla for many years, and Joel's a local junior there. They've obviously, whenever you can get that sort of a partnership in the middle order, you're going to be able to post a really good score. And Rand, they just had one of those days, I suppose, where it didn't come together in the batting. Only a couple of blokes in double figures in the batting. Tom Simmons, who was the previous captain of Walla, 3 for 1, and Jared Weeding taking 2 for 19. So, just not Rand's day, but people who have sort of been part of the comp for a long time know just how good Rand have been over such a long period of time. So they'll definitely bounce back.
All right, well, that is the conclusion of round 1. We'll have a very, very quick look ahead at round 2 this weekend because we're almost out of time, but we're kicking off with the Rocky Wodonga Creek taking on Holbrook.
Yeah, so interestingly, all the first round winners are playing all the first round losers in order. So, we could be all squared up by the end of this round or have an early gap. But, the Rock are playing Holbrook. Obviously, they played very well. Rocky Wodonga Creek played very well travelling down to Culcairn. Holbrook certainly is showing some signs of regrowth and improvement. So, that'll be a pretty good game up at Wodonga Creek. And
in our next game, it's Henty taking on Rand. So we'll see if Rand can bounce back after a pretty average showing in round 1.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, well, they'll be hurting. So Henty will need to be ready for them. But Henty had that good win away to Holbrook, and they're always pretty hard to beat at home. So that should be a good clash. 2
more games. Walla Walla taking on Brock Burham, and this one's at Walla Walla.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how many of the Brock Burham players are back after that footy trip. Hopefully there's not too many ill effects. And Walla will be riding high after that big victory over Rand. So this one's probably looms as the match of the round, I'd say. Walla versus Brockburn. Should be a really good game down at Walla Walla, which will be looking fantastic, I would have thought.
All right, and our last game, it will be Culcairn taking on Osborne, and Osborne on the winners list, Culcairn on the losers list, but there was only 9 runs between them last weekend, so that should be a good game this weekend as well.
Yeah, I would think so. Osborne should be a little bit probably the similar side. They've got a few blokes away at the moment that are not back for a few weeks, and Culcairn, they'll be a bit disappointed in how their innings crumbled against the Rocky Creek, so they'll show a lot more resolve, I imagine, and that'll be a good game out at Ostrich Park.
All right, well, the cobwebs are officially dusted off for most of this league. Like you said, still a few lads getting back from footy trip and probably still celebrating some premierships, but for the most part, the dust has been blown off and the season is underway, so that is round 1 done and dusted, and very much looking forward to see who's on the winners list in round 2. Steve, good luck to you this weekend and enjoy the cricket, and looking forward to chatting again next week.
Beautiful. Thanks very much, Dan.